Today, we're diving into a really fascinating framework that completely flips conventional dating advice on its head. We're going to impartially analyze a source that blends ancient Stoic philosophy with modern behavioral psychology to essentially decode human attraction. It's all about moving away from chasing or constantly performing, and instead, grounding yourself in self-respect and restraint.
So let's jump right into this core paradox. Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase someone's desire, the faster you seem to make it disappear? It's like a giant puzzle. The source argues that when people feel someone pulling away, they usually do the exact thing that kills attraction. They lean in way too much, they over-explain, and they heavily over-invest.
To make sense of this massive framework, we've broken the material down into 5 key pillars. We'll cover the trap of chasing, silence and space, the Stoic inner foundation, boundaries and communication, and finally, how to become truly unforgettable. Let's get into it. Starting off with Section 1, the trap of chasing. There's this huge myth out there that if someone isn't showing interest, you just need to provide more evidence of your worth, right? Text them more, be hyper-available. But reality check, attraction is absolutely not a courtroom. You literally cannot cross-examine someone into wanting you. Trying to argue your value just exposes insecurity. To the other person, it doesn't feel like love, it just feels like emotional pressure.
Let's look at an anecdote to really ground this. Picture this guy, Steven. He meets Michelle, feels this great spark, and boom, he instantly floods her with attention. Texts, memes, you name it. Well, she naturally needs a little space and pulls back. But Steven's anxiety spikes and he pushes harder, asking, "Hey, am I bothering you?" In that one split second, he completely loses his frame. Now Michelle isn't curious about him anymore, she's just managing his emotional neediness.
All right, moving on to Section 2, silence, space, and restraint.
Now, the source brings up this incredibly interesting concept called magnetic silence. And let's be super clear here. This is not about playing childish games or trying to punish someone. Magnetic silence is framed as a mature, balanced response to low effort. It's about giving the other person the actual space to wonder about you. Because let's face it, desire simply cannot grow without room to breathe.
Take Harold's story, for example. He was playing the classic standby role. The very second Lisa showed even a hint of interest, he'd literally drop his plans and ditch his friends just to be available for her. But when your time has absolutely no boundaries, your presence becomes cheap. When Harold figured this out, he shifted into the grounded man. He kept his schedule, he offered structured time, and suddenly his presence became highly valuable because it wasn't just guaranteed on demand. Anchoring all this in Stoicism, the ancient philosopher Epictetus reminds us that nature gave us one tongue and 2 ears so we could hear twice as much as we speak. Restraint in communication actually gives you a much more commanding presence. Someone who can just comfortably sit in silence creates this really compelling, mysterious tension.
So, the big takeaway here? Have your own life. Stop narrating every single emotion. And please, stop treating a delayed text message like a 5-alarm fire. If you're an open book with 0 secrets, you leave absolutely nothing to the imagination. You want to unfold your life in layers over time, not just dump it all in a rushed presentation on the first date.
Which brings us to our third pillar, the Stoic inner foundation.
We've talked about playing it cool externally, but honestly, that's impossible if you're crumbling on the inside. This is the absolute linchpin, emotional self-sufficiency. If you are outsourcing your emotional stability to whether or not someone validates you, you simply aren't free. Without this internal anchor, you're going to leak nervous, needy energy, and trust me, the other person will feel it instantly.
We see this perfectly in Raymond's story. He was at a mixer, chatting with Danielle, when another guy approached. Raymond instantly went into auditioning mode, laughing way too loud, bragging about his income, just desperately competing for the spotlight. But the source points out that competing for attention instantly puts you beneath the person you're pursuing. It totally kills the vibe. Later on, when Raymond shifted to just observing, he owned his space and his power came right back.
There is this brilliant quote from Marcus Aurelius applied here. It basically says, "Stop trying to convince people of your loyalty, your strength, or your value through your words. Stop arguing that you're different. Actually, scratch that. Just be different. Embody those traits silently."
The explainer emphasizes that genuine confidence isn't some magic switch you can just flip. It's earned. You earn it by keeping promises to yourself, staying healthy, and having a personal mission that is way bigger than any romantic pursuit.
When you finally stop shape-shifting just to get people to like you and start living deeply in your own passions, your presence naturally becomes so much heavier and more attractive.
All right, on to Section 4, Boundaries and Communication.
People get this mixed up all the time, but there is a massive difference between emotional weakness and true Stoic leadership. People confuse boundaries with threats. Threats are loud, they're anxious, and they try to control the other person. A true boundary, on the other hand, is never an angry ultimatum. It's just a calm, firm statement of self-respect dictating what you will participate in.
Take Greg's situation. Marissa cancels on him last minute for the second time. Now, instead of writing an emotional paragraph or throwing a fit, Greg calmly states his standard. He doesn't participate in dynamics that treat his time casually. He doesn't argue. He just goes out with his brother instead. He enforces his standard with action. And that triggers a healthy realization for Marissa. Greg's time is a privilege, and yeah, it can absolutely be lost.
And hey, communication isn't just about drawing lines in the sand. It's also about how you hold space for someone. The source calls this deep listening. This means giving someone your focused attention without that anxious urge to interrupt, perform, or instantly try to fix their problems just to prove you're useful. It creates a really rare sense of emotional safety.
Seneca hit the nail on the head when he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Because if you lack emotional self-mastery, your communication is always going to falter. Your boundaries will turn into desperate threats, and your listening will just be an anxious performance. You have to master yourself before you can truly connect with anyone else.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Becoming Unforgettable. To really leave a mark on someone, you have to take a hard, objective look at the dynamic. Are you dealing with a consumer? You know, someone who happily eats up your texts, your dates, and your compliments without ever initiating anything themselves? If they are, you've got to stop overpaying for potential. True attraction means stepping back and waiting for mutual investment. They literally have to step forward and match your effort.
So how do we pull this whole shebang together to become truly unforgettable? According to this framework, it's all about having a deeply consistent yet evolving character. You've got to control the pace. Don't rush into intimacy just because the vibes are good. Make your validation actually mean something because it's hard to earn. It's this perfect balance, offering the heat of genuine interest while maintaining the space and independence of someone who has their own amazing life.
And as we wrap up this explainer, the source leaves us with one incredibly provocative question to think about. Are you trying to convince them of your value, or are you busy living it? True value is never begged for. It's lived, it's observed, and ultimately, it is completely impossible to ignore.